Biggest lie I believed after divorce was this, that if I could just get motivated again, I'd be okay. And I realized that in those moments where I wasn't motivated, when those moments when something didn't go my way, whether it was in business, whether it was, I remember there was a job search and nothing was going my way. I wasn't motivated. I didn't have that nudge. I didn't have someone really in those moments that were in my corner. And I just kept realizing that if I get motivated or if I get excited about it, and you know what? It was a difficult climb. It was as if I would climb three ways up and three rings on the ladder, and then I would fall back five. How did I do this? How did I fall back here? How did I get in this place again? It was avoidance. I would distract myself. I would focus on things that would be uplifting and optimistic, but they didn't really move the needle of what I needed to do. I avoided hard feedback. And I tell you what, the difference between successful divorced dads and the unsuccessful ones is, are you open to hard feedback? I had a call the other day in our school group, and we were in there, and one of the guys jumped in and he started sharing about how he was working on a deal, and the deal, it was some work stuff, and it was falling through because the customer felt like, you know, he was aggravated or annoyed or frustrated, and it was going off on her, and she wanted to and she canceled the deal. And he's telling me this, and I had to be really open and blunt with him. And I said, brother, let me just share something with you, man. Your tone sounds angry. Even when you're talking right now, you sound angry. And if I'm hearing that as a customer, and God forbid your partner that you're getting divorced with and what she's hearing, I'm very certain that that anger has overflowed into every area of your life. And that blind spot, that weak spot is huge, and it's tearing you down. And you've got to adjust and create a system for how you're going to manage how you're thinking, how your tone is, how your heart is, right? Um, Great book that says, "As a man thinks, so is he." So we began to unpack that about his thinking. I said, "Hey, how you been talking to yourself? How you been thinking about yourself?" And it was clear it wasn't good. He wasn't happy with himself, and therefore he wasn't happy with others. Scripture says, "We love our neighbor as we love ourselves." And you guys, dads in particular, in this moment, man, it's hard to feel like you love yourself when you feel like a failure, when you lose confidence. I've been there. It's hard to love yourself when you feel like you've lost your way, you've lost your life, you've damaged your children. They're impacted because of you. And even if the decisions were sort of out of your control, that's how you feel. And so you're trying to get motivated. You're trying to get this thing going and see the future, and it's cloudy and it's dark and there's nothing there. And that's where I had to understand for myself that motivation didn't fail me. I never installed a system that worked without it. The same thing that I'm referring to this guy that's in our group. So listen, if this episode or any of these episodes have put language to something you've been stuck in, I just want to say, just click and subscribe and leave a review. That's the easiest thing you can do to help more dads, to reach them, to give them a rope when they're drowning. Just click. Just leave a comment. What was helpful for you? Again, let's dig into some of this stuff today, because why motivation fails. Let's dig into some neuroscience. Let's dig into your brain, man. Like, this is what's happening between your ears. Motivation is dopamine driven, and dopamine spikes before action, not after. Dopamine spikes before action, not after. And so stress plus uncertainty equals a dopamine crash. That's what's going on in your brain. And here's the divorce effect of that. This is what's going on. Chronic uncertainty. Man, So many times the dads I'm talking to, they're a month ahead, 2 months ahead, 3 months ahead, 6 months ahead, and they're worried and they're freaking out and, housing and paying for things and alimony and child support and all these things. They're way ahead and they have this uncertainty. And this uncertainty and this stress causes this dopamine crash. They're like, "Man, what can I possibly do to get out of this situation?" The divorce effect also will give you an identity loss. And this is the biggest one of the most common ones. You're not a husband anymore. You feel like your dad responsibilities are half the time. You read these reports and these charts that tell you about. I remember reading them for myself that by the age of 12, you've had 80% of your time with your child. And now you have to think that's cut in half. And so that time is now dissolved even more. And the identity that you did that you created that problem for your child, the identity that when a dad isn't in a child's life, all of the things that child is now going to have to go through, that's even harder. The statistics against them are depressing. That's what they are. They're depressing. Divorce effect for your emotional fatigue. Your brain is constantly wired like it's running a 100-meter dash all day long. You're exhausted, fatigued. It's hard for you to think. So your brain isn't designed to stay motivated. It's designed to conserve energy. And so when you finally do have a second, there's just no creative capacity for you to imagine or dream or do any of those things. And motivation isn't there either because it has an expiry date. Motivation is a match and systems are the furnace. You got to get that. You have a fire. You have this ability. You have this purpose. You have this place. Motivation is a match, but the systems are the furnace to keep that thing burning when you don't feel like it, when things don't go your way, when legal stuff turns in the wrong direction, when co-parenting just becomes a nightmare. Your systems are the furnace. Let me share with you the REBT, some of the stuff that I learned from, I grew from the most. It's rational emotional behavior therapy. It goes like this. It's not the event that breaks us. It's the beliefs we attach to them. And so the chain goes like this. There's an event, there's a belief, there's an emotion, and there's a behavior, right? There's this event, then there's this belief about the event, then there's this emotion created about the event, and then there's this behavior about the event. So when you look at it, an example would be that I hear often is here's an event, a bad co-parenting exchange, right? Here's a belief, I'll never get this right. This is never ending. I have to see this person for the rest of my life. And then here's the emotion, shame, guilt, fear of failure, continual failure, lack of confidence. And here's the behavior, withdrawal, anger, avoidance. Most dads try to fix behavior, but the builders need to fix your belief. Your belief is what you become. We need to get a different angle about the belief. You need to see that life is happening for you, not to you, right? So there's a practical shift. It's something that I learned from a mentor of mine, Tony Robbins. Many of you probably have heard it before. There's a lot of different ways that people teach this. And I just found this to be very helpful and something that is going to turn motivation into systems, frameworks. What can you do, man? Like when you train your mind, like you train your body, those of you that love to go to the gym, you work out, you understand the principles of training. And the principles of training is that you're going to break this muscle down, it's going to rebuild, but you got to do it every day, most of the days, and you've got to eat right, and you've got to focus on specific areas that you're working out. You back and bis, chest and tris, legs, the whole deal. But you understand that as you do that, as you focus on those things, it gets better. And when you have a goal in mind, hey, I want to lose this weight. I want to get my waist here. I want to have six pack. I got a guy, a good friend of mine said, bro, I want a six pack. That's his goal. He set a date. He sends me photos every week. This is where I'm at. He gets it. He's getting there. He's closer. He's almost there. Let's bring this into your mind. Every day, you have to train your mind just like you train your body to be able to take the thoughts that probably you don't want and transform them into the thoughts that you do want. How do we do this? We use scriptures, we use affirmations, we journal that through. We have a process. When this thought comes, I do this. When this belief comes, this is my new belief. Why? We're training our mind, we're rewiring our mind. Why? Because you want a result. I want peace in my mind. I want clarity. I want confidence. I want strength. I want courage. I want all of those things. So here's how we change it even a layer deeper. Because many of you are probably saying, bro, I've tried that. It sucks. It's hard. And I just did this exercise with a couple clients recently because I do understand it's dark. It's depressing. It's hard for you to think like everything's okay. The first thing you got to do, it's a 3-part. It's state, story, strategy. And so this is the framework of it. And when your state is in a state that is low energy, fear, worry, anxiety, guilt, shame, low energy, you're not going to be able to change the story so you can change your strategy. So what happens is low energy will give you a story that's low energy. This is never going to change. How am I going to make this money? Will I be a great dad? Did I wreck my kids? Right? Then your strategy becomes, what am I going to do? I'm reacting to everything. There's no real strategy behind it. There's 2 things you can do. And one is the first and the best way is your state to change your physical state is what we're talking about. So you got to change your physical state. So I tell guys, do a workout, go on a run, do something, get your endorphins pumping so that you can start to change your story and then you can change your strategy. So when your endorphins are pumping, things are going, then let's talk about your story. What's a different story now? What do you see differently now that you've got your body pumping, energized and excited, internally? You got your happy pills are rolling. Now let's change the story. Okay, well now, there is possibility. There's a few ways that I could try doing these things to create this vertical revenue wise, or, I can do this for my dad. I can start to schedule and plan things, right? Your story's changing and then your strategy's changing. Well, I can do this now. I can schedule this. I can add this part in. I can, let's try and work this in the business. Let's do these things. So when you do a practical shift like this, state, story, strategy, that's one way. Another way to do it, because you're like, well, Anthony, how am I supposed to do a run and a workout every time that I feel depressed? I got you. I'm with you. The other way you can do this is sometimes just simply jumping up and down for like a minute. Just jump up and down for a minute. Just get your body moving, get your body activated, get your body thinking about possibilities and abundance and overflow and finding a way. Another way to do that. Another way is your breath, your posture, your movement. So you don't think your way into a new state. You got to move your way into one. Move your body, move your state, move your mind. Get your state moved so that your story can change. And your story could sound like this. What am I telling myself right now? And is it useful and is it permanent? Because your story in a low energy state is going to be low. And your story in a high energy state is going to be high. So we want to change those states, and so we can change the story, so we can change the strategy. The strategy looks like this. What's one task you can do? One small action. Last night in our call, there was a few guys that had a lot going on. I said, bro, what's one thing you can do tomorrow to change your strategy about the situation? What's one boundary? One role of self-discipline? What's an input change? Right? What can you put your phone down? Can you turn the TV off? Can you censor the music that you're listening to? Can you become this machine for greatness? What does that look like, brother? What is that, when you're making 50, 60, 80, 100 grand a month, who is that man? Tell me who it is. What does he look like? And now let's work into that every single day. You don't steer a car by yelling at it. You adjust the wheel. That's what this looks like. So the fast system, when we look at this mid collapse, this motivating thing is your focus has to become fast is focus, the F is focus and faith. What outcome am I building this week? Everything's outcome, man. What is the outcome? When I sit with clients and we review everything and I say, all right, where are we going next week? What is the outcome that we want to hit for next week? What does it look like? Where's your faith in this journey? What does that look like? Your awareness. The question they would ask is, what belief is draining my energy? What belief about this, man, is draining it? Why do you have that belief? Right? And who are you accountable to for that belief? When you start believing that, clients will, for me, the clients will text me and say, hey, I've had this week, I'm procrastinating. I'm thinking I'm not valuable. I'm not worth it. Great. Awesome. You're accountable to it. What are you going to do now? What's the next step? What's your strategy? What action works even when I don't feel like it? Sometimes, guys, it is working out. What action will move you through that feeling so that you can shift and change your story and change your strategy? And then transformation is, I don't wait to feel ready. I act like the man I'm becoming. I act like the man I'm becoming. You have to constantly see the RAS, the reticular activating system, is a system that your brain is waiting for you to show them. Your brain is waiting for you. So when you start to put things out that you can see, who's the man you're becoming? What's his calendar look like? What's his cash flow look like? What's dad life look like? You go through the systems in our school group. What is dad life? Do you have it planned out? Do you have it scheduled? What is his tone? Right? What is he dressing like? What is he talking like? Who's his friends? Where is he hanging out? When you transform that, when you get your brain seeing those things, then it's going to go for them. It's going to find them. It's going to find this way. The scripture says it like this. Galatians 6:9 says, don't grow weary in doing good. Everything in life is marketed as microwavable. You don't even have to go to the grocery store anymore. You can get food, obviously microwaved. You can get it delivered. There's no waiting anymore. And what happens with dads, and even for myself, and I have to remind myself constantly for this, is that scripture says, let patience have its perfect work. And Rome wasn't built in a day. So you have to have this understanding of patience. And one of my favorite quotes about patience from Wayne Dwyer, he says this: infinite patience brings immediate results. Many times that we're frustrated and we're disgusted or we're unhappy with our life because we have these maybe overzealous expectations of where we should be. And you don't really see the full picture. And you don't look at how far you've come. And so you start to look at where everybody else is and you look at yourself and say, geez, I should be here. I should be there. I should have this much money in the bank and all of those things. And then you get depressed and demoralized and low energy and guilt and shame. And that's not what this is. Patience is knowing that you're on the right track. You're on your track. Nobody else's, man. You're building your life. You're creating what you see in this picture. And endurance produces maturity is what James, in the book of James, it says endurance produces maturity. You're maturing. You're growing. What got you here is not going to be what gets you there. Let me give you lastly, this one thing, and there's a couple questions here, but I want to give you a 24-hour builder rule. Just a rule, 24 hours. No matter how you feel, I want you to complete one builder action every 24 hours. So you have to define what is a builder action. I'll give you an example of a builder action. Every 24 hours, you got to nail one of these down. An example could be a workout. An example could be journaling one page. But when I say journaling, I would advise you to journal with prompts that are going to keep you in the future. Journaling it forward, not just journaling how miserable your life is. Because again, what you focus on is what you become. Journal 1 page. Read some scripture. If you read 3 chapters of the Bible a day, you'll read the whole book in the entire year. Send one honest message to somebody. That could be a builder action for you. Prepare tomorrow's schedule. Many times we're behind and we're losing the day because we simply just haven't taken the time to set the day for the next day. Builders don't win days, they win streaks. These are streaks that we create. So take 24 hours, commit to one of those, and do one of those every 24 hours as you build. Here's some questions that we can go, right? Where am I waiting to feel motivated instead of acting? What belief is draining my energy the fastest? What builder action can I commit to daily for 7 days? Here's the challenge. Choose one action, do it daily, and track it. No intensity, just consistency. I started working with a guy and we were talking about in the physical thing. He's talking about wants to do all this. I want to work out. I want to get to. I said, bro, just walk for an hour a day. And if you can't do an hour, do 15 minutes a day. Build into, create a streak, create a win, stack the wins, start small. Get that going so that you have some wins to stack. You have some things going for you. Listen, dads, if this episode helped you understand why you've been stuck, share it with a dad who's trying to motivate his way out of pain. Click the subscribe button, leave a comment. Let this algorithm go crazy to helping more dads. That's all it does when you do that. Click it, comment, it goes out. So I thank you in advance. If you're not in our school group, join the Brotherhood, the Ascent. It's free. Tools, frameworks, Brotherhood, group coaching weekly. And if you're not on Instagram or you are, follow Divorced Dads of America. Every day there's templates, frameworks, and systems, deliverables to you for all the topics that we cover, man. Motivation fades. Builders install systems that don't. I love you guys. I'm rooting for you, praying with you. I see you on the next one. God bless you.